Good afternoon, Yeladim, and welcome back to more Children's Torah Stories. Our story today is called Counting the Jewish People, and it's about how David and Joav made a big mistake because Hashem says that we are not allowed to count Jewish people. When it comes to Jewish people, if you want to know how many Jewish people are in a room, you don't go around saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Hashem does not want us to count Jewish people because we're not just numbers. We people. Imagine if I was looking. You are number one. You're not number one. You're a person with a neshama, that means a soul from Hashem. You have a special mind. You have a special heart. You're not just number 5. You are somebody. So Hashem does not want us to count people. So what do we do if we want to know how many people are in a room? Or let's say nowadays, when it's COVID, you're only allowed a certain number of people. Only 50 people in shul. So what do? You can't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So do you know what we sometimes do? We will count, we'll say, I'm not counting people, I'm counting noses. 1 nose, 2 nose, 3 nose, 4 noses. But when you count noses, hopefully everyone only has 1 nose. If you've got somebody with 2 noses, then you're in trouble. Or somebody with 0 noses, then you're in trouble because you're not going to be able to count normally. But that's what we'll normally do. We'll count nose by nose. Or one of the ways they would do it was Hashem would say, everyone should give a half a shekel. That's a certain amount of money. Let's imagine like 100 rand. Everyone should give 100 rand to tzedakah. And then we will count how much tzedakah there is. If there's 500 rand tzedakah, we know it's 5 people. And that was another way that they would do it. So Hashem doesn't like us. There's another way that people would do it. If you want to know if you've got a minyan, you know what a minyan is, Yeladim? A minyan is when you have 10 men who come together to pray, and then there's special prayers that you can say when you have a minyan. Like Kadesh, that's Yit Kadal v'Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah. You only say that when you've got a minyan. Or Baruchu et Hashem HaMavorach, or reading the Torah, or all things like that. We only do when there is a minyan. But how do you count if there's a minyan? You can't go around saying, 1, number 2, number 3. No, we don't like doing that. So one of the ways is we pretend we are about to eat bread. What do we do before we eat bread? We say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Right? How many words are there in that bracha? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. 10. If you get to the end of the bracha and give each person a different word, then you got 10. So you would say like this. You'd look around at the people and say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We've got a minyan. That's one of the ways we came up with all clever tricks so that we don't end up counting Jewish people. We will just count, like I said, their noses or give them a word from the bracha or something like that. Well, that's how we are supposed to do it. But David and Joav made a big mistake. And David said to Joav, Joav, I have a special mission for you. Sure, David, what is it? Joav, I want you to go around and count all of the Jewish people in Israel. I want to know how many Jewish people there are. Please go around and count them. Now, why did David want to know how many Jewish people there were? Well, maybe, we're not exactly sure, but maybe he wanted to know how many people can be in the army so that they can fight against the Plishtim. Maybe he wanted to know how many people can pay tax so that he can get money to do things for the country. Maybe he wanted to know because he thought, wouldn't that be interesting to realize how many Jewish people there were? We're not sure why he was asking, But it wasn't a good enough reason. And Yoav actually said to him, David, I don't think this is a good idea. Hashem doesn't like us counting the Jewish people. We should rather just say, I hope Hashem gives us a blessing that there are more and more Jewish people. We shouldn't go around and actually count them. No, I say you must count them. Off you go, go and count the Jewish people. Okay, well, Yoav went with a group of census takers with him, with a group of helpers, and off they went all over the place. They went to the east part of Israel, that's across the River Jordan, the way they came in. Then they went down up all the way to Gilad, which is in the north of Israel, and they even went to Sidon and Tzur, which is in Lebanon today, and then they went down to Beersheba in Yehuda. They went around the whole country, and it took them more than 9 months. Whew! Took them close to a whole year. 9 months and 20 days. Do you know what that's long enough to do, Yeladim? That's long enough to have a baby. That's long enough from the time the baby first starts growing in the mom's tummy until pop! Until the baby comes out 9.5 months later, or 9.5 months later. So that's how long it took them to go around and check the whole Jewish people. And then Yoav came back to David. David, I have the answer for you. Oh, that's marvelous. Thank you, Yoav. So what can you tell me? Well, if you want to know about soldiers, we've got a whole lot of strong Jewish men who can be soldiers. 800,000 from half the Jewish people and 500,000 from Yehuda. If you put that all together, it's 1,300,000 warriors. Whoa, that is quite a lot of Jewish people. There's more today in Israel, but that really was a lot, and that was excellent. What a great thing. And that also shows how Hashem is helping the Jewish people, that there's so many of them now. That shows that David has helped the Jewish people to become strong, because if the Plishtim were still winning against them like they used to be, there wouldn't be so many Jewish people. There's more of them now. So those are all a very good sign, and things are looking good. And they were about to give each other a high five to say, yeah, well done, we got so many Jewish people. And David stopped. Yoav, what did we do? We counted the Jewish people. We're not supposed to count the Jewish people. Yes, that's what I was telling you the whole time, David. But Yoav, we made a mistake. Hashem doesn't want us to do this. Oh no. Hashem, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I counted the Jewish people when I wasn't supposed to. What can I do to put this right? And once again, we see that we have reason to be proud of David, because like everyone, he makes mistakes, he does the wrong thing. He should have listened to Yoav from the beginning. When Yoav told him, don't go counting the Jewish people, Hashem doesn't like it. He should have listened. He didn't. That was a problem. But afterwards, he went around and said, well, actually, I did make a mistake. I'm really sorry. He didn't try to make excuses. You remember right in the beginning of the Torah, we learned about Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve. When they ate from the fruit, Hashem says, did you eat from it? Adam says, well, Chava made me. And Chava says, well, the snake made me. And everyone has different excuses. And with Cain and Hevel, Cain and Abel, when Cain kills his brother. And Hashem says, why did you do it? And he says, where's your brother? Oh, am I supposed to take care of him? You have all these people who like to make excuses. Not David. David does not make excuses. If he does something wrong, he says, yes, I did something wrong, and I am sorry. Yeladim, who of you is like David? Who, when you do something wrong, and your mom or dad or brother or sister say to you, did something wrong, you say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Put up your hand if you do that, or if you try to do that. That is a very good thing. I'm very pleased to see some of you doing that. That is a very good thing. If you are able to, if you can, that's so good to be able to say, sorry, I was wrong. Some people think, well, if I say I did a bad thing, I'll get into trouble. Sometimes that's true. But normally, if you don't say it, you get into trouble. If you say it and you say you're sorry and you want to make it right, then normally you don't get into trouble. So that is definitely the best way to do it. Well, that's what David said. I'm really sorry, Hashem. I did the wrong thing. How can I put it right? Well, along came Gad, the Navi. Gad was one of the people that Hashem used to talk to, and he came to talk to David. David, oh David. Yes, Gad. David, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is something bad is going to happen. You did the wrong thing. You are the king. You're the boss of the whole Jewish people. And because you did something wrong, bad things are going to happen to the Jewish people. That's the bad news. Uh-oh. What's the good news? The good news is you get to choose which bad things happen. Hooray! What a nice thing to choose. This is what you could choose. Choice number 1. 7 years of famine. We learned all about famine yesterday and how in a time of famine, the Jewish people can't run away. Can't get food to eat and that kind of thing. Choice number 2. 3 months when your enemies will attack you and you will lose against all your enemies in war. Or option 3, 3 days of sickness, where everyone will get sick and some people will die from that. Well, Yeladim, should we go with option 1, 7 years of famine, no food? Should we go with option 2, 3 months, losing in war, Plishtim beating us all the time? Should we go with option 3, sickness and people getting sick for 3 days? So each one is different, because the ones that are the worst are for shorter. The ones that are not as bad are for longer. Okay, so show me with your hands, Yeladim. Option 1 for the famine, 7 years. Option 2 for the losing in war. And option 3 for the sickness. All right, I see Team Ginsburg is on sickness. Okay, and Sheva also. So that is what David said as well. Give yourselves a round of applause. David said, I choose option 3. But you know the reason why? I choose option 3 of sickness. Not because I love sickness. We don't love sickness, do we, Yeladim? No, sirree, Bob. I do not choose option 3. I choose option 3 because option 3 is completely up to Hashem. In option 3, people get sick, and there's no way that we can finish. We're not in other people's hands. We're only in Hashem's hands. And one thing we know about Hashem, Hashem loves us. And even if Hashem said it will be for 3 days, Maria also said sickness. Well done. That is what David said. Excellent. So David said if it's for 3 days, maybe because Hashem loves us so much, He's going to make it in the end that it isn't going to be 3 days. Well, guess what? That is true. In the end, Hashem only made the sickness for 1 day. Even though He said 3 days, after He started the sickness, Hashem said, I love the Jewish people so much. I can't carry on with making them sick for 2 more days. I'm going to have to stop here. And that was actually why it was the right choice. Because David said, I don't want to rely on people. I want to rely on Hashem. And David also said, Hashem, it was my mistake. I did the wrong thing. Please don't make the rest of the Jewish people sick. If somebody must be sick, then just make it me instead of everyone else. And you can see how David really cares about the Jewish people. Well, while all of this was going on, there was a guy called Aruna, and he had a farm, and he was busy taking care of his grain and doing things like that. Sorry, Aravna. There was a guy called Aravna, and he was busy taking care of his farm, and it was while he was at his farm that David saw the plague stopped at Aravna's farm. So it's like the plague, the sickness was going like this. Sick, 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 stop. Healthy, 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 healthy. It was like Aravna's farm was the place where the plague stopped. So God came and he said, David, I want you to go and buy Aravna's farm and make that a special place for Hashem. And off went David, and he went to talk to Aravna, and Aravna said, Oh, my lord, my king, why have you come to visit me? Aravna, I want to come and buy your farm, please, so I can build a special place to Hashem. Oh, no, no, no. I would never dream of selling it to you, your majesty the king. I will give it to you as a present, and I will give you all kinds of other presents. No, no, thank you. I appreciate that, but I don't want it as a present. I will buy it for the full price, 50 shekels, and then I can make a special altar, a special table to give presents to Hashem. And that is what David did. And Yeladim, do you know that that is a special place as well? If you want to know where Aravna's farm is, you can actually see it behind me. Because where Aravna's farm was, right over here, is the place that eventually became the place of the Beit HaMikdash, of the Holy Temple, and that is where the Kotel is today. But if you want to hear more about that, I'll tell you next time. Bye.